Welcome to Dot Point F4, and today we're looking at explaining the reasons for adopting technologies in agriculture. So obviously the key thing here is reasons why we need technology. So we also need to look at why it might be adopted and why it also might not be adopted, because some of the past questions that have been asked in the HSC asked about why you might not adopt a new technology, and obviously that might be something to do with cost or not actually improving things enough to justify it. So, some reasons why technology may be adopted include basically maintaining competitiveness with other countries, so the economics, critical to maintaining sustainability of producing quality produce and products in Australia, so sustainability. It's vital to maintaining viable farms, so it's economic reasons there too, again. Critical to address issues that can impact production, such as disease, resistance, lower yields, environmental impacts, etc. So maintaining production and increasing the quality or quantity of the produce, so efficiency. Some reasons why you might not adopt it include increased level of risk, low level of exposure, poor marketing, needing education and training, conservative approach, changing markets, might be outdated quickly, and also potential side effects. So some examples here. I'm giving you an example of BT cotton. So you can highlight some of the things in here about this. But BT cotton, basically BT cotton, the reason you would adopt it would be because it contains a transgene which produces Bacillus thuringiensis in the leaves and the boll, which kills the bollworm, and therefore this saves money, mostly through the 80% reduction in chemical usage, which makes it much more sustainable. The reasons why we might not adopt it is because since this is the genetic modified part of it is patented, the cost of it is high. You have to pay a royalty to Monsanto, who's the company that owns it or produced it, and so farmers might not be willing to pay the price, as their return may not justify the price that they have to pay for it. In terms of animal production, embryo transfer is an example of a technology. It's used to help give improvement in breeding technology. It is a example of a breeding technology which can enhance genetic traits and how they're passed on. And example is EBVs. It helps improve breeding lines as well. So embryo transfer is basically something that allows genetically superior females to be replicated via surrogates multiple times per year. So you should already know about this. And it also speeds up the process of genetic improvement in a herd and allows producers and stud breeders to target specific traits, in other words, marbling, for rapid improvement and improved reputation and price. Reasons why you might not use embryo transfer. Basically the cost is high and it only works 30 to 40% of the time. It also requires a skilled operator to perform and highly genetically desirable animals. So if you don't have those genetically desirable animals, you might not be willing to use it because of the expense. Another one is soil sustainability. So obviously soil degradation is a big issue in Australia. Things like salinity, acidification, and soil structural decline and erosion are reducing the quality of soil, and so we can use new technologies to help reduce or minimize this problem. An example is GPS technology. It helps give improved structure and decrease chemical runoff by using GPS plows and GPS sowing machines and stuff like that, sowing implements on tractors, and so the effect is that we get decreased compaction, decreased negative impact on the environment, and also decreased seed density competition. And so reasons why you might not is there's a significant cost of the new equipment, and also the knowledge required by the farmer to operate the equipment might not be something they can are willing to learn about, and so it might prevent them from investing in it. So sports wool is an example of a garment that has been produced by Australian Wool Innovations, and it's basically for jerseys and for sporting teams, and so it has a fine wool inner layer which makes it comfortable, and a polyester outer layer which leads to a more comfortable feel to the uniforms, and so it would give an advantage as it has the properties of both wool and synthetic fibers, because wool has been competing against synthetic fibers to produce to be able to supply people's uniforms. So the reasons why you might not adopt it may cost more to use sports wool brand because it's been a technology that's been invented, and so it would cost more money, and so people might not adopt it for that reason. In terms of disease control, you know a lot about NLAS already. So NLAS allows traceback of animals quickly, which improves the reputation of Australian beef. It also allows production improvements through greater monitoring. Now, I haven't given a reason for not adopting it because obviously it is mandatory. All right, salt-tolerant wheat. So this is an example of sustainability. You should read the attached sheet on salt-tolerant wheat. Basically, there's a lot of areas of Australia and the world that are becoming more saline, and so in those environments, you need to be able to still produce food because we need to feed more people. So if we breed this salt-tolerant wheat, which is a form of technology, with a good yielding wheat, then we can plant this wheat in those saline areas. Explain why you might not adopt this technology. The cost may be very high for the plant rights due to the royalties and may not be required if salinity is not an issue in the area. The last reason here is robotic milking, which you should know a fair bit about already. The technologies can do these things here. It helps reduce labour, which gives you savings, can be used to purchase land, etc., or increase profit. Explain why it might not be adopted. There's significant capital required to actually install it, so the machinery and the dairy margin profit is low, and also concerns about increased disease rates in robotic milking. Past HC questions, this 2011 one on cost. So proposed reasons why a newly developed technology may not be used. Cost, the new technology usually costs significantly more, and there are royalties included in the price. This may be more than the increase in return, meaning it is not economically viable for farmers to do. The second one is a knowledge gap. So the new technology may require a significant or new large amount of extra training and knowledge, and hence may not be widely adopted by some farmers. Example, GPS in the early days, and that's for 4 marks there. This is not from the HSC, but it's an example of some practice questions on this. Explain 3 reasons why technology may not be adopted in agriculture. First one is improved productivity. This is why it would be adopted in agriculture. First one is improved productivity. Second one is competitive advantage. And third one is environmental sustainability. So a new way of doing something maybe more efficient, cut out waste. Example, GPS tractors reducing overlap and can plant seed spacings more accurately. Competitive advantage, wool has had to compete against synthetic fibers for many decades by creating sports wool, which combines a polyester outer layer with a wool inner layer. For sports uniforms, this creates an additional market for wool to expand sales. And then environmental sustainability, so increasing land degradation due to salinity has reduced farmable land area across the world. By utilizing plant breeding technologies to incorporate salt-tolerant gene, which excludes sodium from the leaves, this helps open up land that is saline to salt-tolerant wheat and other crops to increase productivity and food production.